My name is Jonathan Jones. As Bernard mentioned, I'm happy to be your host and moderator. We're going to start the rebroadcast. This program was originally launched. The date will be announced right at the beginning of it, but I think we're talking about 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago. And we recorded the entire discussion there with Dr. Prasad. The entire program right now is even being live streamed on YouTube. So we capture all of our Sunday programs and put it out there for the world to be made aware of. And folks are being interested. They're developing an interest in it. So I'm sure that if you've been invited here today, someone cared enough about you to tell you that there could potentially be some information that may be of value to you. Now, we're pleased, you'll hear the disclaimer presented a number of times in our discussion, but we really want to make that clear that we're not presenting this information as a substitute for a visit to your primary health care physician. We strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. The FDA has not evaluated any of these comments, and we're not claiming that any of the products that are discussed are a treatment or cure for any disease state. So this is for information, education, and entertainment purposes only. Okay? All right, very good. So let's go ahead and get ourselves started here. I think that you can hear the audio as it starts to play, and then I'll switch over.
For the record,
switch the screen over as
today
well.
is Sunday, December the 10th, 2023. My name is Jonathan Jones. It is my pleasure, my privilege to be your host and moderator for this evening and this afternoon, depending on where you are. But this subject matter here of cancer, it's really it's a bone-chilling word. No question about it.
Anyone who's periodically just editorial as we get into the discussion
you have cancer. It's sobering, and it will cause you right away to stop and contemplate your values and everything that's most important to you. When I hear those words, and other folks who've now come to know Dr. Prasad and other things, they don't think I'm dead. They simply think, what do I need to do next? So it's a whole different way of looking at things. And it's important to know that anyone can have that viewpoint. Anyone can have an altered viewpoint. But it's up to you. It's up to you and you folks who are here right now. I applaud you because you've decided to take time out of your busy schedule to come and hear, a presentation like this on a Sunday afternoon, a Sunday evening when there's so many other things that you could be doing with your time. So we applaud you for being here. But we would encourage you to go ahead and contact those that you care about and let them know that this discussion is being held right now. I'm just going to, set a couple things up before we have our discussion with Dr. Prasad, because Dr. Prasad he'll be joining us in momentarily. But just to kind of bring you up to date as to some of the things that happened last week. First of all, know that the FDA has not evaluated any of the statements that are being made today. When you hear discussions like this, even when there's a doctor involved, Dr. Prasad, he's not a medical doctor. I'm not a medical doctor. But when you hear discussions like this is not intended to be a substitute for a visit to your primary health care physician. We strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. You're going to be hearing testimonials. Testimonials are purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. Results are atypical. Engage. Dr. Prasad and none of the hosts or co-hosts are making any claims that these micronutrients or any other supplement would cure, treat, or heal in any way. By law, we're not allowed to make any claims like that. So please understand that we're not doing that. Only the government can declare a substance to be a treatment or cure for any disease state. To this day, after more than 100 years of giving attention to cancer, billions and billions of dollars being spent on the subject of cancer treatment, cancer prevention, and how and why cancer forms. Back about 10 or 15 years ago, they came up with something called immunotherapy, where they decided that it would be smart to take and invoke the power of the immune system and turn it against cancer. So they've been doing all kinds of things. And truth be told, they have made tremendous strides. And there is some progress that has been made on it. As you can see from this recent screenshot from the CDC's website, cancer still lands number 2 on the list of the leading causes of death in the United States. What could be the reason for that? I did a search on the National Institute of Health and their official library of medical documents that the government keeps, and found some documents and papers that were published on the effectiveness of chemotherapy. And did you know that in published documents housed at the official library of medical documents in the United States, that they say that chemotherapy is cytotoxic against cancer cells 3% of the time, 3.5% of the time, I think it was 3.5%. So let's say around 4%. Let's stretch it a little bit. So less than 4% of the time, chemotherapy is cytotoxic against cancer cells. Now, cytotoxic means capable of killing, putting them to death. So maybe that helps you to understand why it is that cancer is still number 2 on the list of leading causes of death, right behind heart disease. And you see right now, it's not far behind heart disease, which is really kind of amazing. COVID just recently made the list. It's now number 3, and it pushed down accidental or unintentional death, which actually, quite honest with you, that really means iatrogenics, which means medical mistakes. So the number 1 and number 2 and number 3 leading causes of death contribute to the number 4 leading cause of death, medical mistakes. Because if you want to, have an accident or have an accidental outcome, the easiest way to do that is to be in a, in a medical situation. Because unfortunately, things happen. Accidents do take place. So we encourage people to, take charge of your health. And be in charge of your life and be in charge of your outcome. And if you can't make sure that you've got a very strong health advocate, someone that is working hard to see to it that something that you have a good outcome. And now this was touched on last week, and this is a summary of what was touched on last week. The screen that you're looking at right now, these are just some of the side effects of chemotherapy and the treatment. And Dr. Prasad went into detail as to how it is that his theory, his formulations can disrupt what chemotherapy is trying to do. He said that the standard treatment today is more about free radicals than anything. So it produces free radicals, and free radicals attack. It's forcing rust to attack and degrade cancer cells. That's the whole objective, is to degrade the cancer cells. And that's what chemotherapy and radiation does. That's the approach to killing them. The problem is that it's not selective in the way that it behaves. It not only does do the free radicals attack the cancer cells, they attack healthy cells and healthy tissue as well. And Dr. Prasad covered that. And you might, if you were here last week and you heard it, then you also were here when Beth explained what this situation is that we're looking at right now. I apologize for not giving you warning that I was about to show you an image that you may or may not want to see, but this is active cancer. And if Beth is here and wants to give us, tell us a little bit about this case, we'll be happy to hear from you now, Beth. So feel free to unmute yourself and just jump right in. But she explained last Sunday that this man's name is Rick. And this picture was taken on August of 2023, this year. So we're talking just 4 months ago now, 3.5 months ago. His diagnosis was basal cell carcinoma. And he lives off the grid. So my guess is that this, situation really had not been treated, and that maybe, it got to a point where clearly it was not, wasn't healing, and therefore that's what led to the concern, and caused the gentleman to seek medical attention. So anyway, this is where it got. But here's what was interesting. What was interesting is what happened next. Now, this next picture you see is a photograph that Beth herself took in November of 2023. Same gentleman, same face. And the treatment that he had was, I believe it was 30 some rounds of radiation, or was it 18? Whatever it was a large amount of radiation was the treatment that this gentleman received. But look at him. Now, how is it that, radiation, we just showed you a slide there where the treatment for cancer usually leads to all sorts of side effects, which are horrific. On the list of things that it often will cause is hair loss. So this man has not lost any hair at all, and you can see his face is not burned, and only one eye looks a tiny bit red there. But that could have been depending on what time of day it was. But this man looks perfectly healthy. And she said when she looked at his face, you could barely see, where the problem was, where the cancer was before. Why did he have such a different outcome? It's because he decided to add micronutrients to his diet. He added micronutrients to his diet. I mean, think about this. The man did not say, okay, I'm not interested in being treated. He chose treatment, but he decided that he wants to try to increase the odds of getting a better outcome. And so that's why he took the route that he did. And someone cared enough about him to tell him that if he added micronutrients to his diet, there was a chance that he could get better results. And Dr. Prasad explained why. He explained exactly why. Here's another case that was discussed last week too. This is Iris. And she told this story. She came on one of our discussions, one of our conferences, just like this one, and just told her story live. And she said that she had been diagnosed with breast cancer, and she chose to accept all of the treatments that her oncologist recommended to her, surgery, chemotherapy, and it was 8 rounds of chemotherapy, and she said 33 rounds of radiation. But she says throughout all of it, she had none of the usual side effects, and no one could understand it. The doctors couldn't understand it, but she understood why. And she says even now, while she was taking the tamoxifen, that's the drug that they give you to stop the recurrence of cancer, it causes severe bone pain. She says she doesn't have that problem at all. Why? Well, it stands to reason that what Dr. Prasad was explaining evidently applied very well to her as well. She decided to add micronutrients to her diet. And the same was true with one additional case that Jeff shared with us. Don't remember her name right now. Susan, Sherry, I don't remember her name, but Susie, there we go. It was Susie. Susie's blood work was so poor that the doctors were not going to give her any treatment whatsoever because she just had the blood work was just not good. And so they didn't feel that it was going to be a good result for her. She was introduced to microdaily. And so she decided to add these micronutrients to her diet. And within a short period of time, all her blood work improved, and she was able to then go on to get the treatment. And it altered what to her felt like a death sentence and changed and made her hopeful. Now she felt like there's a possibility that she was going to have a very good outcome as a result. So all of that was covered last week. And Dr. Prasad made it clear exactly the reason why, what the potential as to the reason why those individuals had the outcome that they did. He explained that because micronutrients and antioxidants in high doses blocks the uptake of glucose and blocks the uptake of glutamine, that causes hungry cancer cells to starve because that's what they like to eat. They like to eat glutamine, they like to eat glucose, and it starves them. But at the exact same time, it protects all the healthy cells from all that free radical and oxidative stress that's going on when chemotherapy is introduced and radiation is introduced into the body. So he made it sound so simple and so easy for us to understand that now we're hungry to hear some more. We're hungry to know more. In fact, during the meeting last week, when we said we were going to be talking about how many people love their pets, and is it possible to give micronutrients to their pets? After that meeting was over with, I got a tsunami of reproach and vitriol about how come we weren't doing part two that Dr. Prasad said that he had at his up his sleeve. So we did a about face and said, okay, we'll talk about part two. And so I contacted Dr. Prasad and said, what do you think? Can we talk about the prevention and the causes of cancer and the prevention, how to avoid getting it in the first place? He says, absolutely. He was ready to do that. And so it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce to our discussion now Dr. Kedar Prasad. Dr. Prasad has a very storied background. He's not just your garden variety of product formulator. Dr. Prasad is in a whole different league of gentlemen, as the expression might go. He was a professor of the University of Colorado School of Medicine for some 30 years, director of vitamin and cancer research. He was the president of the International Society of Cancer and Nutrition, a member of the Royal Society of Medicine, London, UK. He was also a member of the Nobel Peace Prize nominating committee and the candidates for medicine. And that last bullet point that I just mentioned there, Nobel Peace Prize nominating committee, that by itself really should be all that we ever need to say about this gentleman. We tell everything else because it's part of his repertoire. But they do not give that invitation to just anyone. He was, by the way, the world's first radiation biology PhD. So think about it now. When it comes to being slammed with radiation, which happens to be still the standard of care when it comes to treating chemotherapy, this gentleman was the first person to be an expert to leave a school where he was a PhD in the field of radiation biology. He knows a little something about protecting the body from radiation and helping the body to recover from it, as was evidenced by what we saw with Rick. His products have been awarded 8 U.S. patents on micronutrients. He's the godfather of micronutrients. He discovered the anti-cancer potency of vitamin E succinate. If you want to understand the history of all of that, by the way, make sure you listen to part one from last week of this discussion, because he explained to us how he found this vitamin E succinate. All these years I've known this man, I didn't know how he came up with that, because it was just amazing to me, the way that geniuses work. But he discovered too that the butyric acid, the small fatty acid formed by the fermentation of fibers in the gut, is an anti-cancer agent. This man has authored or co-authored 33 books. And when it comes to the whole medical and scientific community, Dr. Prasad has been published more than 250 times. So that means, as far as his contemporaries and his peers are concerned, Dr. Prasad has come up with more than 250 things that his contemporaries had not thought about. So it's my privilege to introduce to our discussion now Dr. Prasad, Dr. Kedar Prasad, and we can't thank you enough, Dr. Prasad, for your willingness to join us on days like this and to share with us this vast reservoir of knowledge that you've accumulated over a lifetime. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Jonathan. First, I want to apologize for delay. Because I got involved in something else and I just forgot it. Morning, I was saying today is the 2:00 day, but sorry about that.
So, my goodness, you're kidding me? It's not a problem at all. We always try to make sure that we have a little bit of stuff that we can discuss while we're waiting for you. You take your time. Don't you worry about that at all, ever.
Yeah, so I can stay as long as you want, in case, because I have nothing after this, so I can stay longer time if you.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you have it, folks. We may we may go a little bit longer today.
Yes.
And take on some of your questions, but sandwiched in between here, folks, understand something. We're going to ask Dr. Prasad, Professor Prasad, to really help us to understand a little bit better, what's going on with this subject of cancer. What exactly is the deal with it, and why is it that it's a prevention and treatment? So
yes,
I have your slides, Dr. Prasad. I've got your slides that you prepared on this subject. So if you want me to go through some of them, just kind of as a as a bookmark, that's fine. But you can deviate and go anywhere you decide you want to go, with this. Okay, but I'll put them up and we'll go through them. So you told us quite a bit here about how cancer cells form in the first place.
Mhm. You can see that cancer cell is defined as a cell which grow without any control. Normally, a cell will divide, differentiate, and die. This is the normal procedure of in our body, like bone marrow cell or any kind of dividing cell. They will divide, differentiate, and they die, and then new cells are formed. But when that doesn't happen, an abnormal growth, the cell is growing without going through differentiation and dying, then that means that become a cancerous cell. On a cancer, so as you know, cancer cell are two types. One is very aggressive, and another is benign tumor, we call them. Yes, but Jonathan,
your slide here says that this can start 10 to 15 years before it becomes a solid tumor. Are you trying to say
exactly.
that this cancer cell does not die? It actually could linger for 15 years?
Yes, here is the thing. Suppose you get exposed to any either chemical carcinogen or radiation, for example, and because there are many of these agents so they will cause mutation, gene. They will cause mutation because of defect in the gene. But many times mutations are not harmful. So the cell will continue to divide, but carrying on this genetic abnormality. But it does not interfere with the divisions, dividing and differentiating and dying process. Then another mutation will occur because the cell becomes a little bit more susceptible to changes. But still, the cell continue to divide for a long time. The only time that again happens that by chance, suppose the genes which control the differentiation process, in other words, that gene get activated, the dividing cell differentiate and then die. When mutation occur in differentiating genes, then they cannot differentiate anymore and they can die, so they become cancerous. And then there are several ways you can visualize this. In a cell, we have a oncogene, we call them, and but oncogene normally is there, but but when it get activated under these kind of circumstances, then cell become cancerous. There are also suppressor gene, tumor suppressor genes which can suppress. So normally that gene keeps the cells not going through the cancer, and normal cell continue to divide, differentiate, and die. But when this tumor suppressor gene gets depressed by various agents with carcinogen, then become cancerous. Now, another theory, this is one theory that I propose, a three-step model of carcinogenesis. But other people have proposed two steps model in carcinogenesis. Suppose you get exposed to cancer-causing agents, radiation, chemicals. So cell becomes susceptible to become cancerous, but it cannot become cancer until another agent, like tumor promoting, they called it, until the tumor promoting, here the tumor initiating agent, you can see that nitrosamine is formed like when you eat bacon or sausage, and if you don't have any antioxidant.
Don't say bacon, Dr. Prasad.
Eh?
Don't say bacon. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, that I tell you, they form it. But if you take a micronutrient before that, orange juice or whatever, or capsule, anything, then they don't form it. That's good to know.
That's
so
good.
These are the things of how you can prevent these things. Benzopyrene is another one that when you are cooking outside a steak and then a smoke comes out, that smoke has a lot of benzopyrene. Actually,
that's barbecue, huh?
Barbecue, yeah. And X-ray, well known that smoking is well established causing cancer. Asbestos in old days in building used to have asbestos. They are also carcinogen. Tumor initiating, did start the process of cancer, but still cell has not become cancerous.
Okay, because it's now just something has initiated the process. It's not cancerous, but it's
still the cells are dividing, going through, differentiating and dying. But when tumor promoting agent gets that cell exposed to tumor promoting agent, and some example are estrogen in case of women, testosterone in case of men, prostate cancer, excessive sun exposure is also promoting agents, and furboester, another found in a fatty food, high caloric diet you take it, these are all considered a tumor promoting agent. So without tumor promoting agent, tumor initiating agent exposed cell cannot become cancerous. So the combination is better. So these are our hypotheses. But the important thing to remember is that by the time you get exposed to, you don't know, because you are daily exposed to many kinds of tumor. You don't know until it appears, which is 10, 15 years. And the reason we know 10, 15 years, because those cancer survivors who has gone through radiation therapy, they always have a tumor is gone, that's for sure. But on the other side, in your body, because they were exposed to radiation, normal tissue, 10, 15 years later, they develop cancer. If it is leukemia, can appear 10 years after the exposure to, say, radiation. And if it is or chemotherapy, or if you have solid tumor, it takes 15 years or 20 years to develop it. So this gives you a wide range of opportunity to intervene, how to prevent it.
Okay. Now, see, that should wake everybody up a little bit, because what you just said was that all of these things is a natural part of our life.
Mm-hmm.
And the lifestyle here in this country includes these very things. So we are surrounded by, we're eating, we're breathing, we're being exposed to carcinogenic tumor initiating agents, and we have tumor promoting agents. All they need to do is come together.
Yes.
And 10 to 15 years from now, I could get cancer.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
So that's
the bad news, right? Okay, go ahead.
No, so that's why, the doctor, for example, if the survivor of cancer treatment, the doctor don't recommend estrogen, because estrogen is tumor promoting agent. The cancer cell, they are already initiated, so they don't want to take a chance, and they don't recommend taking any estrogen for women or testosterone for men.
Gotcha.
And so the question arises that, okay, so what we can do it? It takes many years. And as you can know, that oxidative stress that we dealt with many other diseases, which can induce mutation. Oxidative stress is well known, free radical, to induce mutation in genes of normal cell, which continue to divide and differentiate and die in normal pattern. I was discussing that. But if oxidative damage is not repaired, for example, then chronic inflammation sets in motion. And these two together becomes that can cause additional mutation, and then they can cause cancer. So these are the most culprit, increased oxidative stress and inflammation. And if you can reduce it while you are going through your lifestyle, you will never get the cancer. Or after treatment of, say, chemotherapy and radiation, when you have a risk of developing 10 to 20 years later new cancer induced by cancer-causing agents. And then if you reduce the oxidative stress and inflammation by taking, say, for example, micronutrients that are known to reduce oxidative stress, then the risk of developing new cancer by the treatment agent is markedly reduced. Not only that, but also, especially after therapy, not only you are at risk of the new cancer induced by cancer treatment agent, but you are also at risk of non-neoplastic disease, non-cancer diseases, like necrosis of the muscles. And if your brain is involved, necrosis of the brain tissue, non-dividing tissue, they develop a lesion and they cannot be healed properly. So in order to prevent both cancerous and non-cancer effect of a therapeutic agent, cancer therapeutic agent, you have to reduce oxidative stress and inflammation in your body. How?
Okay. So then, Dr. Prasad, you the immune system should normally be taking care of this, right?
Mhm.
So the immune system is designed to do this.
Yes.
But is it because our immune system is so overwhelmed by tumor initiating agents and so overwhelmed by inflammation and free radicals that we sometimes don't keep up with this and prevent
Yeah,
this?
the main job of the immune system is that if suppose cell become cancerous, is happening all the time. For immune system, that is a foreign cell.
Mhm.
They send what is called a tumor cell killing, and they die. But if your immune system is also impaired because of poor nutrition, increased oxidative stress, and inflammation, that they can't take care of that. And therefore, tumor have a chance to grow. And then, because you have not taken care of your immune system, but in the beginning, you have to visualize that in your body, cancer cell being formed all the time.
All the time.
By mutation.
All the time.
But not everybody gets cancer.
That's right. That's right.
So it is very important to remember that so it is important to reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. People say that, for example, smoking. Take one example of smoking from prevention point of view. If you just stop the smoking, cancer incidence can be reduced by 30%.
Wow.
30%. And another 30% can be reduced if you modify your diet. Don't take a food which is a carcinogenic, or, try to reduce it, have plenty of fruits, vegetables, fibers. Especially for prevention of cancer, they recommend that people should take a 28 gram of fiber every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you get it? You have to take a lot of fruits and vegetables. Every time you have meal, you have to take a lot of fiber-containing food. And so you can see that cancer, at least 60-70% of the cancer is prevented by just stopping your low fat. Also is very important, because excessive fat is a tumor-promoting agent. And so then you can reduce the cancer incidence by just doing that. But have people done it? No.
No. That's you're talking about lifestyle now. And
and exercise. These are important.
Yeah.
So the simple thing is for sure that it can be easily followed. Sometimes it is difficult to convince them don't smoke, convince them to take a good diet, low fat, high fiber diet. But we try to educate them as much as we can. But the easiest thing to adopt, that people can adopt very easily, is taking micronutrient supplement.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
And do diet as much as you can, and lifestyle changes as much as you can. But at the same time, you take micronutrient. Yeah,
that's critically important. And I'm hoping that folks are just really getting this right now, because not a single one of us can say, well, there's no history of cancer in my family. No one has this, no one that. I've never had it before. Listen, today, right now, 15 years ago, the barbecue I ate could right now be trying to form into a tumor right now.
Yeah.
So if I'm not doing something right now to try to disrupt that process, then I got to focus my attention on trying to deal with the fact that I have it.
Yeah.
So it's better to prevent it than to try to fight it and to come back and beat it up. Okay. So go ahead, Dr. Prasad.
So here is the increased oxidative stress and chronic inflammation initiate the development of cancer. Very well established. Nobody can agree with that. When tumor initiating agent at high doses can eventually cause mutation in oncogene, tumor suppressing genes, or gene responsible for differentiation. When this occurs, normal cell become cancerous. But it takes a long time to happen, all these three things. Sometimes you can have just the oncogene, but sometimes you can have a tumor suppressor gene mutation, which will suppress tumor gene. And if you have mutation oncogene, they increase the expression of oncogene. And so these are the system and they're all related to oxidative stress, because all tumor initiating agent increases oxidative stress and chronic inflammation.
Wow. Okay. That's critically important. So go ahead.
This is my hypothesis that I propose and publish it, that normal dividing cells differentiate and die in a regular pattern in our body. Daily, this is happening. When normal cell loses the ability to differentiate, they cannot die, that therefore they become cancerous. When the gene that regulate differentiation in the cell become mutated, normal cell become cancerous. So for my hypothesis was, it is the gene which is control differentiations can become mutated, and then normal cell become cancer cell. So again, why they have a mutation? Because increased oxidative stress gradually. This is one example. This is neuroblastoma cell, cancerous cell in the side. And when you differentiate them, you can see they become like a mature neuron. This discovery with cyclic AMP.
That's what this is right here?
Yeah. At that time, it was known that cancer cell you cannot reverse to normal cell. This is the first demonstration that this is possible to reverse cancer cell to normal phenotype, normal-like cell. And you can see the example. This is the first time. And as I said, this finding, this observation made me very famous. And I got invitation for all those places.
Are you saying this is the cancer side and this is now the normal side?
Normal, yeah. You see neuron, it is a neuron. Neuroblastoma cell is a nerve cell tumor. Children in brain happens.
Wow.
And so you can see that they are dividing all over the place. But when this happens, they don't divide. They become mature neuron. This is the way neuron looks.
Wow.
And when you inject this is if you inject in the animal, they will form tumor. If you inject this cell in the animal, they don't form tumor. That means they have become normal cell.
That's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thank you. And thank you for becoming famous for this.
Yeah, I know. That was my first discovery in 1970.
And for sharing it with us.
And this was so that when I sent for publication to Nature, which is highly prestigious journal still, Francis Jacob, who was a Nobel laureate for messenger RNA, reviewed that paper.
Mm-hmm.
And generally, when you send to reviewer, you don't make a comment on your stationery with your full name and address. But he must be surprised that he's a poor guy, assistant professor at that time, And so he made his compliment, and sent his comment to me. Editor sent it, that on his stationery, Francis Jacob, all the address and so on. So I was surprised that paper was reviewed by a Nobel laureate.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
And accepted without any revision. They accepted it.
That's huge. That's one of the 250 published papers that you've.
That was my not first paper, but it was my
early in the process.
Professor, and then that also generated my NIH and all the money I started getting it.
That's wonderful, incredible. Thank you for sharing that. So 10 to 15 years is the transition time period. These are the current prevention recommendations. You want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, you can see that this is, as I mentioned, it was low fat, high fiber diet with plenty of fruits and vegetables, stop smoking, minimize the exposure to cancer causing agent, which we mentioned, what are those? Reduce stress, moderate exercise. This has been, but despite this recommendation, the incidence of cancer is increasing.
Yeah.
Because nobody follows it.
Nobody's doing it.
It was 1.7 million cases detected, and 606,000 people died.
Yeah.
Just 5 years later, the 2022, it was 1.9 million new cases.
Mm-hmm.
And more deaths occurred, 609, 100,000.
No improvement whatsoever.
No, it is increasing. It is increasing because nobody followed the prevention strategy, and even cancer death, in spite of the best treatment, still more people are dying of cancer than any other disease after heart.
Yep.
Here, the formation of cause during eating and digestions, when you consume bacon or sausage, your favorite food, Jonathan, nitrosamine, a powerful cancer agent, is formed in the gut and acid pH. Bacon and sausage contain nitrite as a preservative. If you don't add nitrite, you will die of botulism. So it is absolutely essential preventing any infection. But what happens, nitrogen in the stomach combines with the amine, another compound already present there, to form nitrosamine. But if a stomach has an antioxidant, such as vitamin C or vitamin E, nitrosamine does not form. So can you enjoy your food? Whenever I go, and I love bacon too, Jonathan, like you, but
Yeah,
I
we
make
had that in
orange
Cancun.
juice. Before go, I take my vitamin, but also at that time, I have orange juice. I will order orange juice one for sure.
That's incredible, Dr. Prasad. So I hope everybody understands this, that the food that we're eating supplies the nitrite, and the amine is already in our stomach, is already in our system. So the nitrosamine now is the cancer-promoting agent.
Cancer-initiating agent.
Cancer-initiating agent. And we can disrupt that if we just consume antioxidants. We can be disrupting that. So that's the reason. This is the other added reason, folks, for taking your micro daily while you're eating. Take it just before you eat.
Yeah.
And now you got the antioxidants in there, and it is breaking up the party. So instead of cancer-initiating agents coming in contact with a tumor-promoting agent, you got somebody that broke up the party. It's got the police are in there. So now you got security guards that's stopping them from getting there.
Yeah. So there is no initiating agents.
Oh boy, that's amazing. That is just amazing. Okay, this is good. This is why everybody was screaming for us to talk about this instead of talking about pets today. So go ahead.
Now, also, cancer is formed during digestion of the food. And if cancer-causing agents are formed during digestion, meat eaters form more than vegetarian. Nevertheless, they form too, but they form more. And this has been demonstrated very clearly by the Ludwig Institute in Canada a long time ago. If antioxidant is present in your stomach, then they reduce the formation of cancer-causing agent in the intestine, and high-fiber diet binds with the remaining cancer agents and eliminate them through the. So not only it reduces the formation, but whatever is left over, the high-fiber diet will bind it and remove that through the feces.
Wow.
This is important to know because, all of us, love meat.
Wow.
And this is okay, but if you take, if your stomach has sufficient amount of micronutrient, then it is reduced. And you have a high fiber diet, then it is eliminated. So you are reducing the formation of a tumor initiating agents.
This is fantastic. So, and flax is a very good fiber. So if you can get fresh ground flax and sprinkle that on any of your food, not only are you getting the fiber, but it also likes to fight cancer in general. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. So anytime if you can get fiber, this is good for you.
This is excellent. Thank you so much for sharing this. Okay, let's see. We got a couple more slides here, and then we'll go to some questions.
In addition to diet recommendation, I suggest adopt micro daily EMF and probiotics. Of course, at that time when I proposed this thing, we did not have a omega-3.
Omega-3.
I would include omega-3 because it has a lot of another important function. And if somebody is cancer survivor, then I think after 5 years they can have a this collagen peptides. And but normal people, of course, should have a collagen peptide because it has some other function that is good for you.
Right.
You improve the quality of life who are aging.
Right. Very good. Very good. Okay. This is outstanding.
Core 4 is very important.
The core 4. The
core
4 is important.
When you think core 4 is
hold back on the collagen, and replace that with a digestive enzyme.
Yeah. And the only time I restrict people who has a cancer, or cancer survival up to 5 years, because there is a chance of reoccurrence within 5 years. And I don't recommend collagen peptides, but they can, like you said, they can replace that for digestive enzyme. Is very important because, the food, digestion of the food is for general health purpose. Is very important. And if you are not eliminating your digestive food regularly, you don't have. If you have a constipation, all mutagen will stay there in your gut for a long time. And so it is important to have digestion, and so that you can have a intestinal removal of the feces very nicely. So.
All extremely invaluable and important reasons for taking all of the products and not skimping on them. Now, for those, I saw in the comments there, as you were talking, someone said that they haven't had cancer for, I think it was 4 years or 5 years, but they're staying on they're continuing to take microdaily because they're taking it for prevention. They don't want it to come back.
Yeah. But, when you suppose if you are taking a very high dose for therapeutic doses, then for preventive place, you should gradually, very gradually reduce to preventive dose level.
Yes, very gradually.
Yeah.
Very gradually. We want to emphasize that for folks that, as you are coming off of your therapeutic dosages of micronutrients, then just gradually start to reduce it. So if you were taking 12, 14, 16, whatever, then just start reducing that, maybe one every, few weeks or so, just gradually reduce, your dosage, okay? Because you don't want this to ever come back. And depending on our age, we're already at a huge deficit. So we definitely want folks to stay on top of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is good. So we have time for a few questions now, but you know what? Before we go to the questions, I want people to understand exactly how, what action they should take. So let me just show those last few slides in our discussion, so people know that there's action item that they should take to go forward. With this, if they have to make a decision, because I think what you've told us today should motivate anybody to get started, whether you think you have cancer or not. These are just some of the books that Dr. Prasad has written. And if you just take a screenshot of this, just look at almost everywhere you look, you see the word cancer, cancer, cancer. On the right side, I see half a dozen. On the left side, I see another half dozen. And radiation is all over the place. So this man has forgotten more about the subject of cancer and radiation than we have discussed here today. And this is the basic formula that we're recommending that you take a good look at and consider, because it's loaded with the antioxidants that Dr. Prasad recommends. And when you take this at therapeutic dosages, that's triple the normal amount. So whatever the standard amount is, like for the microdaily hydro, that would be 1 stick, 1 pack, twice a day. That's standard.
Yeah.
But if you're dealing with abnormal cells in your body, you want to take 3 packages twice a day.
Yes.
At least that's 3 to 4 packages twice a day. So just go with whatever you can afford. Dr. Prasad talked about the probiotic daily. You want to get this in your body. You just heard all of the reasons why. This will help to disrupt the cancer initiating agents from getting married to the cancer promoting agents.
Right.
This all breaks up the party and stops things from connecting together. He just told us omega-3 is critically important as well when it comes to our body.
Your health, exactly.
Fighting general health, fighting off cancer. If a person is dealing with brain fog or fatigue or whatever the case is, and if you have already had, last week he told us that this will also be very helpful if a person is suffering with chemo brain.
Yes.
But I just told a friend of mine a couple of days ago, Dr. Prasad, I was trying to remember a name. I came up with 2 of the names, but the third name was fleeting. So about a day or 2 later, when the name just popped into my head, I texted to him right away. I says, my memory now has a buffering feature. So it took it a while before it loaded itself up. So microdaily hydro EMF is the most powerful and the best formula that we highly recommend. So you want to talk with the person who invited you, and they'll help you set up your own subscription. And one other thing, folks, before we just close off these slides, he made that clear.
Yeah.
Right. Very good. Very good. So it's very simple. Take advantage of the boost here. You want to add on, once you get the basic bundle, you want to add. So start with the basic bundle, and then you want to add on. Let me get the right color pen here. You want to add on, once you get the basic bundle, you want to add on the extra items that you need. The omega-3, and I don't have a picture here in this slide, in this deck of the digestive enzyme, but just
Right.
my pen is having trouble here for some reason. The digestive enzyme, you want to add to that, this particular bundle. And remember, you're going to need extra microdaily. So if you want a little bit more, that's a better way to go. So that's what I do is I get 2 of the microdaily, either the capsules or the EMF hydro. And that will help you with your prevention of the issue. I had one client who said, oh, but I was taking microdaily, but still my doctor prescribed me with cancer. I said, well, yeah, but you had 8 other diseases. So, and we had already recommended that you increase the amount that you were taking because of the other issues that you were dealing with. So once she was diagnosed with it, she had to go on therapeutic dosages of it to try to get it under control after that. But anyway, get back with the person who invited you, and they will help you to set up your subscription, which is the best way to get it. And Dr. Prasad has recommended over and over and over again, you need to be on it for at least 90 days to get the full benefits of the products. So do not deviate from that.
Yeah, and Jonathan, just for your information, I will send you, I just got a galley proof of my paper where I have discussed in a very nice journal where I've discussed the value of core 4 in prevention and improved treatment of diabetes.
Beautiful.
So I will send you the galley proof. There's a couple of minor mistakes there, which I corrected them. And so just for the information that at least you can read it.
All right. No, read it, nothing. That's a hint to everybody. You know that means next month we're gonna be talking about diabetes, but we're gonna drop the gauntlet on diabetes next month.
Core 4.
So, that's coming. That's in the pipeline.
Yeah, nobody has suggested. I mean, this is the first time anyone has dared to suggest that it is important to have a multiple approach at the same time rather than one approach at a time.
Okay, so we're going to just interrupt right now. There's a bunch of questions that came up following this, which they were all very, very good, but we want to focus on any questions that you may have before we conclude our discussion. And we applaud you for being here today for this rebroadcast. And as you can see, it was just as interesting today as it was when it was first broadcast. Someone raised the question, is it okay to take collagen if you have lymphoma? Of course, that's a form of cancer. And Dr. Prasad has said that if you have active cancer cells, then it is better to not, especially if you've been diagnosed with cancer, it's better not to take the collagen. Jeff has made comments, and I've also made comments to the effect that we have seen that therapeutic doses of the microdaily tends to overcome the very tiny issue. And Dr. Prasad has even mentioned that it's not a major concern, but from a scientific point of view, any concern to him, he feels he needs to state it. But we have seen folks with on almost every level taking therapeutic dosages of microdaily and along with their collagen, and they have had no problem. Because their body has been able to fight off the abnormal cells, despite the additional collagen, and they still get the benefits of having the collagen for the other reasons why they're taking it. So, but if you do have any questions, or if you'd like to make a comment on something that you just heard today, now is your opportunity to do so. You can raise your digital hand, and we'll invite you into our discussion. So, okay, there's another question. I can't see who asked that question. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. This is Joe S. Should someone with active breast cancer who's has not undergone standard of care treatment omit taking the hydro daily in the sleeves because of the sweet taste and only take the micro daily capsules. It's a personal choice. The sweetener is it's not a sugar that's going to create a problem. The high levels of the antioxidant will block the glucose uptake, so it doesn't matter. Dr. Prasad has recommended the hydro because it works faster and quicker without having to dissolve the capsules. However, if you are concerned about that, it's no problem. 3 capsules of the micro daily EMF is equivalent to 1 stick of EMF hydro. So 3 capsules. So just take it, open those capsules up, and you can mix that in water or mix it in yogurt or mix it in whatever you want. Those 3 capsules is the same as 1 stick. If you prefer to have no sweetener at all, that's up to you. But the folks who have had outstanding results with their immune system being able to beat back cancers have used hydro just the same. So there's been no downside to that. Go ahead, Debbie. You have a question? Let's make sure that you can. Yes, you can unmute yourself. You should be able to. Deborah Bowman.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. If someone has had breast cancer and they're finished with their treatment, but they're on tamoxifen or one of the anti-estrogen tablets, can they take collagen? And does that apply to lymphoma for someone who's taken a similar agent after being treated for cancer?
Very good questions. I have one client now that loves the collagen, and she's taking the collagen because she's taking tamoxifen, and she says it is helping her as far as her discomfort and her bone issues. So she strongly feels that it's of benefit to her, and she's not had a recurrence of the cancer that she had to fight. According to Dr. Prasad, you would want to wait a period of time. He didn't specify how long. I think he may have even said years before starting to take the collagen afterwards. But again, we have seen in the field, we've seen no downside to it. We often report these kinds of things back to Dr. Prasad when we see that there's no downside to a person taking collagen, or because there was many times, by the way, there were a lot of things prior to now that Dr. Prasad, based on under the microscope, you look at something, his direction was don't do it. And then doctors down in Puerto Rico, people in the field and other places were doing exactly that, but at very, very high levels. And that opened the door up for Dr. Prasad's research to say, you know what? Yeah, it looks like this is okay. And it goes in that direction. So anyway, bottom line is it's a personal decision. We have seen in the field where there's no downside to it, Deborah, where a person can go ahead and take the collagen. The official position, Dr. Prasad says, is he prefers that they not take it.
Okay. Can you open the mic for Jacqueline Bryant? She's on anti-cancer agent, and I'm not sure whether it's anti-cancer similar to tamoxifen or actually a chemo.
And
Jacqueline?
she on here today?
She's on now. Yeah, she's on now. Jacqueline, can you open your mic and tell them what you're on?
Okay, I'm on Benclaxter. It's a pill that I take 2 a day.
And that's a chemo pill.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right in the same category. And Dr. Prasad has said, obviously, do follow what your oncologist tells you to do. But his statements have been that it's okay to take the micro daily. All it will do essentially is help the healthy cells remain healthy. So it protects the healthy cells, and the chemotherapies will actually work better. So you can continue doing exactly what you're doing, but he highly recommends that you take 3 times the normal dose. So instead of 1 packet of hydro, take 3 packets of hydro twice a day. instead of 3 capsules of EMF, microdaily EMF, you would take 9 capsules twice a day. So 3 times the normal dose to make sure that there is the elevated level of antioxidant support in the body to help to stop the glucose and glutamine uptake.
Okay, and also I mentioned to Deborah that I have AFib,
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted a little information on that as well.
Oh yeah, I've interviewed Dr. Prasad probably 4 times on the heart. And when it comes to cardiac issues, a lot of folks have said that their heart became healthier. Because remember, you're talking about a micronutrient here that's supporting the body at the cellular level. This is the food that's missing from food. Often, every issue, no matter what the disease is, it's all precipitated by free radical damage and oxidative stress. When you put the right nutrients in your body, the oxidative stress and the free radical damage goes away, and the cells become healthier. The mitochondria becomes healthier. The circulation of the blood, the flow of oxygen, the nutrients getting to the right parts of the body, supporting our organs, improves. So there have been folks who have, we had one client, she had mitral valve prolapse. And according to her, her doctor said that her heart healed itself. Those were her words. So she was, of course, taking whatever treatment that he was giving her. Normally, that has to be repaired surgically. But to this day, in fact, I just saw her yesterday, and I saw her today. And she's had no more issues with her cardiac issue. Seems to be completely under control.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. But you stick with that, and just when you're focusing on your abnormal cells, that additional benefit you're going to get is the whole rest of your body's going to benefit from it at the same time. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Very good. Very good.
Jonathan, you got a question from James about when you put the hydro into a bottle of water, how long does it last before it breaks down?
That's a very good question. Some people feel that it needs to be consumed within the first hour or 2. I tend to disagree with that because all it is antioxidants. It's antioxidants in water. Now, all of the contents of the hydro will not break down because the majority of the components are water soluble components, but there are some fat soluble components like the vitamin A, for example, and vitamin E, I believe, that are fat soluble. So if those have to be broken down in your body, so they'll never dissolve. So I don't care how long you leave it in there, they'll always be sitting on the bottom of of your bottle. You look down in the bottle and you'll see what looks like sediment down there. Those are the fat soluble components. Just shake it up real good and just drink it down. I add more water in mine, swirl it around real good, and get the rest of it down. Make sure there's some food in your body, and that will cause the other components to dissolve in time. But you could start drinking it right away. I've had folks. I put my own hydro right in the bottle and start drinking it right away. I shake it up a few times, maybe give it 2 or 3 minutes to let some of the components start to dissolve, and I just drink it right down. But other times I've let it linger for hours and still drink it down. So there's no right or wrong on that. Okay.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Quite welcome. Okay. So I think we covered just about everything that everyone was concerned about.
Well,
And,
you have one more if you want to answer it. I guess it can be the
Go ahead.
last one because there's over 6. So
Mhm.
what recommendations or tips can you offer for someone with metastatic TNBC, breast cancer that may have traveled to the brain? So basically breast cancer, because I remember that Dr. Prasad said cancer is cancer. Do you have any recommendations on that?
It doesn't matter whether it's traveled to the brain or to the foot. It's still abnormal cells in the body. It doesn't matter whether it's localized, benign or metastatic. Doesn't matter how much it's traveled. You want therapeutic dosages of antioxidants. You want high levels of antioxidants in your body, along with whatever treatment that you're taking. You want high levels of antioxidant support in the body. Now, keep in mind, by law, we cannot say that microdaily will cure, treat, or heal. By law, we recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. But if you want to support your body in that situation, take extra doses, at least 3 times the normal amount. If it was me or my wife, I would be doing a little bit more than 3 times the normal amount. In fact, I would take three times the amount in the morning, 3 times the amount at noon, and 3 times the amount in the evening. We have one client right now who's dealing with a stomach cancer. And unfortunately, she's still able to eat, but it's advanced and she hasn't been given long to live. But the results she's getting so far have been very good. She's happy that the nausea is under control. She's happy that it appears as though the hair loss is starting to reduce, and she's feeling more energy than she has before. But she had to increase it. She took 3 times the amount in the morning, another dose at noon, and another dose in the evening. So every person is different, but the harder you hit it, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong by hitting it and approaching it from an aggressive perspective. Okay. So thank you for that question. Thank you for slipping that in. All right, very good. So we can't thank you folks enough for your support. And the main thing that we want to express our appreciation to you for, that you care enough about other people and that you tell them that there's an option for them. Engage Global does not offer treatments or cures, but the food that's missing from our food, you found it now. Because truth be told, if we had the proper nutrients in our diet, Dr. Prasad repeated it again and again and again, then really we would not get sick at all. So you've got to find the right supplement to restore what we've lost and what's been taken from us and from our food. Because remember, the food that our grandparents and great-grandparents ate was much more highly nutritious. In fact, one scientist did the math that corn back in the early 1900s was 18 times more nutritious than it is today. So think about that. 1 ear of corn, your great-grandmother could eat 1 ear of corn. Today, you'd have to eat 18 to get the same amount of nutrients that she got. So we all have to be doing something to slow down this aging and dying process. I highly recommend that you get active and walk 7,000 steps a day on a minimum, 7,000 steps a day. So next week, we're going to be doing another rebroadcast because the majority of Engage Global staff, personnel, and leaders are all going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada. That includes Dr. Prasad. But the rebroadcast, guarantee you that anyone that you invite to next week's discussion, they're going to be just as excited as they have been for the past 2 weeks. So Bernard's going to be taking the lead with that. So Bernard, we can't thank you enough for your support with that. Cancer seems to be the subject, but you heard Dr. Prasad say it. He's got new research, new published paper showing the benefits of the core 4, specifically as it relates to diabetes coming up. So next month, in about 2 weeks, we're going to be doing part 1 and part 2 on how we can use micronutrients to help our body deal with diabetes as well. Okay, so Bernard, is any other announcements that we needed to make?
Not really. I was thinking next week it would be good too if you heard. Actually, we could hear some of your experiences. A lot of times we come on during the week, we hear people only at night giving their experiences, but a lot of people on here want to really know, are people really getting results from these products? So if you really want to hear personal experiences next week, I'm kind of open to that because we have a lot of people on here that really are almost edging to tell some of the good results that they've gotten for this product. So just shoot Jonathan a little note if y'all want to have a rebroadcast, or do you want to come on here and talk about some of the things that you've experienced in a good way from our products?
That's it. That's perfect. And that option will always be there and be open for that. So very good, Bernard. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah,
All right,
well,
folks.
everybody wants. I noticed everybody really want to tell their story,
Mhm.
and I think it since everybody is at Las Vegas, and hopefully we can get some of those people from Las Vegas to give us some pictures of them while we're having our meeting here. Tell us a little bit about what's going on down there, because I won't be going, but we could do that next week if you want to. Now we can have your experiences and get a little bit of Las Vegas in, and make it a nice little meeting for the ones that come next week.
That's it. That sounds good. That sounds good. Thank you so much, Bernard. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. You guys can unmute and say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
You're quite welcome. You're quite welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you all.
I see somebody already said, here are the
Thank you,
testimonies,
Bernard.
please.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah, the
Thank you.
testimonies
Thank
come
you.
in. Hey,
Good job,
Doc,
you
good
guys.
to see you. Good to hear from you.
Anybody on my team wants some help closing out the month will be on the team.
Thank you, Dr.
Team
Prasad.
Zoom.
What a banner year. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Bernard. Love you
Hey,
guys.
Rob, you're more than welcome.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you very,
Thank you
very
for being
much.
here and being so supportive.
better
Dr.
believe
Prasad
it,
will be
man.
back in a couple of weeks, people. Get ready. Get ready.
I'm not
Our
going to be in
last
Las Vegas,
program of the
but
year.
say hello to my money.
Yes, indeed. All right. Anybody want some support? Get on my team chat.
All right.
Heading over there right
Bye,
now.
Thank
I said
you.
6:30, but I'm heading right over.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Happy New Year to everybody.